Hey everybody, how you doing? I got two computers here. Got one to play some of the um, statements that were made by the person that claimed that I pointed a firearm at them on January 4th. And I'm going to play some of these and talk about this guy's statement and some of the information that he failed to mention to the police officer in a police report, and that he lied about some of the information in the police report. He filed a false police report. So here we go. This is the plaintiff explaining what happened on the morning that I was arrested.
How's it going, sir? So what happened, sir?
We were at the QT right over here, and I pulled in way before he did.
Okay, I'm going to just stop it right there because I need to give kind of some history on what led up to this day. So when you are a targeted individual, when you're being gang stalked and they're running this psychological operation on you, there are many, many events inserted into your life that slowly antagonize you, build you up, cause you to have fear and not understand what's going on, why somebody's doing this, who's doing it, what their intent is. You don't fully know about this program. You're trying to figure it out, and you are in fear for your life. I've been targeted for years, but building up to this point, it had been a year, almost an entire year of nonstop, constant harassment, stalking, break-ins into my home, vehicle damage, weird street theater, noise campaigns around my house, people lighting off fireworks in the backyard at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, cranking music till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, pounding on your front door in the middle of the night. You get up to check to see who it is. Nobody's there. Leaving trash on your doorstep, locking and locking your car while you're in it. Items missing from your home. All of this is going on, and I'm even missing some of it. For almost an entire month before this incident happened, people had been pulling up next to me, rolling down their window, and yelling, "Faggot." Pull off, drive away. They'd yell, "Nigger." They would find some derogatory term and yell it at me out the window. I'd go into restaurants, and people would insinuate that I'm gay. So that had been happening over like the last month, that part. And through my social media, through eBay, there's all kinds of different little messages and people saying stuff in public. And you're wondering, what's going on? And it's frustrating you. It's something that's going to anger just about anybody if you're just trying to mind your own business and people are doing this to you. So, and then also showing up to anywhere that you show up. If I go to the post office, if I go to the convenience store, if I go to the supermarket, the dollar store, wherever I happen to go, there will be more than normal number of the same colored cars. Some of them are sitting there waiting, and then as you pull in, several will pull in at the exact same time. People will get out of their vehicle, follow you into whatever place of business you're going in. A lot of places you'd be the only person in there. It's really slow. You go in, the next thing you know, there's 6 people in there. They're all on their cell phones. They're looking like at their phone, and then at you, and then at you, and you're getting all of this attention that's not necessary, and you can't figure out why they're doing this. And now that we know about the SSG, secret surveillance group funded by the FBI, trained by the FBI, they train foot surveillance operatives and vehicle surveillance operatives. They send them to Quantico, Virginia for 9 weeks. They train on how to do this, and they send them back out in the public. And these people have some kind of security clearance that says that they can go around and do this unconstitutional Stasi stalking and harassment. So this morning when I went to the store, it was the typical thing. There was already some white cars parked in the parking lot at 4:40 something, 4:50 in the morning. Um, some people sitting in the parking lot, just sitting in their vehicles, and then when I pull in, they just happen to get out right when I pull in. You know, it's like their app goes off on their phone, GPS pings. Oh, here's one. Let's go in and do our thing. And this is standard for so many targeted individuals to deal with this exact same thing.
Coffee inside. You walk in the QT, never really pay attention. Just be an officer myself.
So this guy said he walked into the QT, never paid attention to me. I used to be an officer myself. This guy he was sitting in his truck. He got out right when I got out of my car. It's like he saw me. He got out. So did the person in the other white car. I've subpoenaed the video from QT so they can send it to me. Who knows if they'll give it to me. If I could see that video, I could show this guy was just sitting in his truck, waiting. And these other people, how they get out at the exact same time and then kind of converge on you. I'm waiting for that. So he's basically doing the standard thing that they have done to me over and over and over and over. I can spot these people from a mile away. I can go into a store, there'll be 50 people in there, and there's 5 gang stalkers, and I can usually tell who they are by their movements, their actions. They're not natural, they're not normal, they don't seem to have a purpose in the store other than watching you. And then the rest of the people are acting normal. You know, so it's not like this schizophrenic thing where you're like, okay, everybody's looking at me. You just notice the different the mannerisms that people have that they use when they're bad actors. They can't just pretend like they're shopping or doing whatever. And I think that's part of the overt stalking, that they want you to know that you're being watched. They want you to feel uncomfortable. They want you to get mad and act out. So this guy did mention that he was a police officer several times.
Trying to pay attention to people and really looking around, and he just kept staring.
I kept staring at him.
No big deal. Got in line. I got out of line to get an apple. He got in front of me, and I was pretty in shape.
Yeah, so he was in front of me in line. I got in line. He looks back at me, gets out of line, grabbed something. I guess he grabbed an apple, and then got behind me. And that's one of the things they do too. It's like, oh, I just forgot to grab an apple. But the guy got behind me and he was standing real close to me. They show that in the video too.
I mean, when I got in his car, he was facing the QT. I was on the side of the QT.
Which side do you remember?
I was on the south side facing north. Okay. He was parked right in front of the QT, probably about 3 or 4 rows up, right in front of the door, the south side door, facing the building. When he backed up, he pulled forward and he stopped. Like he was maybe checking his phone or something. So I just backed up normally.
Okay. This guy seemed to have been paying very close attention to me for somebody that was just minding their own business in the store. And trying to say that I was acting odd while he's standing there with his bag of chips, kind of looking over it, checking me out, walking wherever I was in the store, being weird, being a lurker. And he's trying to say that I was just staring at him, that, like he's trying to build this narrative of, I'm this crazy guy just staring at him. And that's what these people do. They commit a crime on you, and then they blame you for the crime that they have done. It takes the light off of them, puts the target into a bad light.
And pulled out, just pulled up right next to me. We got out to turn right to get or left to get that.
Okay. And I backed my car out, and like almost every time I'm in a parking lot, when I back my car out, I'm trying to drive down the aisle, somebody will pull out or start to pull out at the exact moment you're driving down. Now, I've been driving for a long time. If I'm sitting in a parking space, I'm going to look right, I'm going to look left, I'm going to make sure nobody's coming, and I'm not going to start to lurch out right as they're going by, because that's going to scare them a little bit. They're going to think that I'm going to run into them, and I'm a normal human being, and I don't want to put people in that position, so I wouldn't do that. I'd have enough courtesy to wait. Now, this is something that happens over and over and over and over every single day. I may have had a couple days off, or I made it through a parking lot without somebody pretending like they're going to run into me, box me in. But 99% of the time, I deal with this. Like one time I got in a car accident over here in Surprise. It was a staged accident. I had stopped at the stop sign, made sure everything was clear. I started to go, and the lady that's sitting to the right of me It's like she was in a drag race. She floored it, took off, plowed into the side of my car, told me, "Oh, I got distracted by these kids that were on the side of the road or something." Plowed into me, kept telling me a bunch of random information that was really odd, didn't have anything to do with the accident. And then pretty much from that day on, to further that trauma, that accident that I was in, as I'm coming up to a stop sign, somebody will come flying up and slam on the brakes right at the moment I'm going by the intersection. And it's like, oh God, is this person going to hit me? It's the same thing in the parking lot. They start to back up like they're going to hit you. They want you to constantly feel like you're going to get in a car wreck, amongst other things. They want you to feel like you're going to die, get shot, get gassed, get your home broken into, everything. They want you to be in constant fear. So that's what was going on. I started pulling my car out. I backed out. I'm starting pulling this way, and the white car that's sitting there puts the reverse lights on right as I'm going by. It's like, do you see me? Okay, and so I stopped, and I'm like, this person's got their license plate, started pulling around the corner. It was like the guy was sitting there waiting for me to pull around the corner just so we could back out right when I was, just like they do every single time. And as you will see in the video.
Avenue, the stoplight. We turned left. I got in the far right lane, so I'm getting ready to head.
Southbound Avenue?
Yeah, we're heading northbound Avenue.
Okay.
But once we made the right, I got in the far right lane, number 3 lane, so I can travel all the way down Avenel Boulevard towards I-10.
Okay.
Because everybody fights to get over the
right.
I just get in the lane.
Everybody fights to get over on the right at 4 something in the morning. There's no traffic.
His window down, and he starts talking. So I roll my window down.
Did you guys stop it?
Okay, so right here he says, he rolls his window down and he starts talking. My windows were already down. As you can clearly see in the video too. We're here, when I'm driving, you can hear the wind blowing in my window. He had his window closed. I pulled up next to him, and I'm reading the side of his truck so I can get the information on the side of his truck. I've already got his license plate. I'm going to try to give this to a private investigator, research it somehow, and figure out if these people are connected. He initiates conversation with me. I never said a word to him until he initiated it's not a conversation. He started, whatever you want to call it.
That's where you guys
we're driving. Okay. And he's like, we're coming right up on Van Buren. And he comes up and we're going to go through the light. And he's like, do you know gang stoppers? And I said, what? He's like, do you know who gang stoppers are?
I said, do you know what gang stalking is? You need to research it. Look that up. Somebody you may be, it's on the video, I'll play it. So he's saying, gang stoppers, gang stoppers.
I said, what are you talking about? Gang stoppers. He's like, you should look it up, bitch. I said,
you should look it up,
what
bitch.
What the fuck are you talking? He's like, gang stoppers, motherfucker.
Gang stoppers, motherfucker.
Jumps over, like, right past Van Buren. He's got a couple of those lanes where he can make a U-turn and go back.
Right.
As he's getting over, what the fuck is he talking about? He flies back over, comes in.
So he's in the number 2 lane, you're in the number.
After, as you will hear, this guy calls me a faggot ass. So I've been called a faggot for the last month driving in traffic. So yeah, it's going to irritate me. Quit driving around yelling faggot at me. Yeah, I pulled back over into his lane. I caught up with him. I flipped him off and I said, fuck you, motherfucker. We're allowed to say that here, right? You're allowed to tell somebody, fuck you. I did get a little bit too far into his lane and yelled at him, but,
3 lane, he goes over to number 1,
and
comes back over to number 2.
And it was all the way into my lane, and I couldn't touch this fucking door. That's how close he was. He's got his gun, he's his passenger seat, pointing right.
I have my gun in my passenger seat. Even if you're sitting directly next to a car with the window down, you'd have to put your head out and look in the car to see if there was a gun in the passenger seat. How does he say I have a gun in my passenger seat?
And he's like, gang bitch, gang motherfuckers bitch, or some shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? No, I am armed.
So he says that my statement was that when I yelled at him out the window, when I said fuck you, he said, gang bitch, gang motherfucker. Like, this guy seemed to be pretty clear on his statement, but nothing seems to be correct, especially this part.
So I pulled my gun out of my holster and put it against my chest. And I said, no, ain't gonna happen. I'm a former officer of the Marines too. Ain't gonna happen.
So he pulled his gun out of his holster, held it against his chest. He said he was a prior Marine, a prior police officer, so he wasn't going to let this happen.
As soon as I did that, he got out of the lane, flipped his bitch. I went all the way up to I-10 and was able to turn around.
Catch back up to you.
I didn't catch up to him. He never turned. And then I believe who was chasing? You guys were at the railroad crossing.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so this guy says you guys were at the railroad crossing. The railroad crossing is past my house. I would have had to, the turn I go into my house, I would have had to go past that another half a block to even be able to see any police officers. If this guy was behind me, how would he have known that there were police officers past where we were even at? That makes no sense. No, wrong part.
you guys were close. I called as soon as I made the U-turn. I called dispatch for 911. You guys were coming up at me. I was flipping mods at you guys. He never turned until we got to that road.
To Maricopa?
I thought, and I stayed over there. I hope you guys didn't mind. I stayed over there thinking he was in the mailbox. You guys were telling he was going to put his gun in the mailbox or stash it in one of those empty mailbox doors. He didn't. So then I stayed at the dispatch center in the area. So I stayed at that school right there. Then it's cool as hell. Or my trunks coming again. I thought that was wild. Holy shit. But no, I stayed there at the school and waited for dispatch to call me until they let me know where you guys were when we meet.
Okay. All right. Did you want to press charges, sir?
Absolutely. That's the whole reason why they're trying to get rid of me.
Okay. He said, do you want to press charges, sir? He said, absolutely. No, almost started saying, absolutely. And he said, absolutely. That's one of the reasons they're trying to get rid of him. What is he talking about? Let me play that part again. That's one of the reasons they're trying to get rid of him.
So I stayed at that school right there. Then it's cool as hell. Or my trunks coming again. I thought that was wild. Holy shit. But no, I stayed there at the school and waited for dispatch to call me until they let me know where you guys were when we meet.
Okay. All right. Did you want to press charges, sir?
Absolutely. That's the whole reason why they're trying to get rid of me.
That's the whole reason why they're trying to get rid of him? Who's he talking about?
Maybe they should have decided not to pull out some fucking random person and what kind of was doing.
Starts mumbling. Random person. I don't know what random person.
I apologize for that.
Sorry.
If you can't see, I can tell you. Not easy. Other than that, you guys have a good event today?
Yeah. Been steady.
Is that you coming down the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Did he get off on you?
He did.
Okay, so he says, was that you coming down the neighborhood? Did he take off on you? Where in the neighborhood? Where were the police in the neighborhood? I was running from this guy that had his yellow and white rotators on that followed me to my house after he pulled the gun out of his window, followed me to my house, turned his lights on so I couldn't see. You ever seen those rotator lights? Tried to look into them? Can't see anything. So I'm basically blinded. All I can see is this guy sitting in his, couldn't see him sitting in his truck. I can see his truck sitting there with these lights on. I have no idea what he's going to do. I have no idea if he's going to get out and try to shoot me or what.
We got him, so.
Well, it's a good thing you're Marine and not Army, right?
He said, the cop said, good thing you're former Marine and not Army, right? I don't know what that has to do with anything other than they're identifying each other as Marines.
I was going to say that, but my dad did Army for 28 years, so he did 3 tours of Vietnam, so I'm like, shit. I was going to go to the Army. But
Hey, when I deployed, I was overseas with the Marine Corps, so.
my brother, well, see, you want to fight with the best.
You know,
That's right.
Or he's like, man, I just want to be first, and go home first.
Can I get your phone number, sir?
I'll give you 2 of them. My work number is, I'll do my personal if you're there first. My work number is,
Where's your firearm right now?
It's in the front passenger seat of my truck. I have 3 magazine out. It's in the
console area?
Okay.
Here's a magazine.
Check it out if you want to.
Okay. Just give me a minute, okay?
Absolutely.
Hey, sir, is there anyone else in your vehicle with you? No, just you.
Okay, right there. So, was there anyone else in your vehicle with you? No, just me. Right there, it says he's by himself. Why do you keep referring to we?
Was there any independent witnesses that saw anything that happened?
I mean, not to the point where, like, when he was hollering at me, driving in cars, no. It was just him and me in the car, so it's pretty much going to be hearsay.
He just said, it's just him and me, so it's pretty much going to be hearsay.
You know, at the QT, he didn't
From
really say
things,
anything.
I have video of him
Looking
pulling
at
his
me,
gun.
like even
So
when we
it's
were
not
getting in the truck,
hearsay,
he was
it's
just...
him stalking, harassing
staring
me,
right at
and antagonizing me, trying to set me up for this shit.
I mean, that could be on... I mean, I know... I built that QT, so I know that they could have their cameras were all around the place, but it just kept staring at me.
Okay.
I was like, what the hell is that guy doing? So I got my truck and left.
So the thing is that he's alleging that you pointed your gun at him first, and you're telling me that you do have a gun as well.
I do. I do.
We haven't been able to get in his vehicle, but there is a magazine in plain view.
Yep.
But no gun.
Well, you go mine.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But like I said, he is alleging that you pointed a gun at him as well first, is what he said. Well, not sure if he wants to aid, because it's he said.
Oh, I understand. I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said something when I was going through the 911 call. Do you want to aid in something? I don't know what they were talking about. What they were asking me is in a weird roundabout way, is do I want to press charges against him? And yes, I did want to do that, but they asked me in some way that I didn't understand. And I'll get to that also.
I mean, this is the only thing I got to say about that. First off, the video, the camera will show me leaving first, so he was behind me. I made my left first. He was behind me. If the video does, because there's multiple camera views over there, and if it shows that he was behind me the entire time and pulled up next to me the moment we turned left, and he pulled up next to me, he didn't pull his gun out and show me his gun. Like I said, though, until he left the number 2 lane, got the number 1 lane.
That's why you
I
can't.
said, what the hell is
That was just north of Van Buren, correct?
Yes, sir. Just north of Van Buren. So right, I'm like, what the fuck is that? What the hell is
Wait
that?
and see this video.
Now, he
See
was
this part.
from
I'll
the
show
number
him
1
my
lane,
gun,
all
and
the way
he
over
responded
to my lane. There was one car in front of me, I believe was the female who was inside the QT store with us, because she left. She pulled out, and then he stopped. Then I pulled out behind her and left. But I don't even know if that. Pointing a gun at somebody, first off, it wouldn't be in this situation. I wouldn't,
Right.
Pointing a gun at somebody indicates, I'm willing to do bodily harm.
Yeah.
Pointing my gun out, once I got a gun pointing at me and putting it here on my chest to ensure my safety.
Put it here to his chest.
I don't even know how that. If you saw my gun, it was on my chest.
Right. So you never pointed it in his direction.
No. First off, it's always pointed down. It's never pointed at anybody unless you're willing to use it. Second, don't point it up. If it goes up, what's coming out? And second, I'm right-handed. How am I going to point my gun at him? I'm not going to stay out the window pointing at him. I'm not like, he pulled right up to me.
Right-handed, so you put your gun in your left hand.
His gun on the back door, or the back seat of his passenger seat. I wouldn't have gone to this length if I had pulled my gun first.
Really?
And then can you describe his firearm?
Maybe he had an ulterior motive.
Literally, it was enough for me to either hit my brakes and have him pull forward a little bit, or it was black. Looked pretty big. I mean, maybe not a 9mm. It's gonna be a 40, 45. It was pretty big.
Really,
like
you could
automatic.
tell the size of the diameter of the barrel.
I don't think it was
Revolver?
a revolver.
So semi-automatic.
Semi-automatic. But
Black semi-automatic.
I don't think it was a revolver. I think it was a 45.
Headrest of
But you can't even see if it's an automatic or a revolver.
No, but he held it towards him.
I can see what
He
size the
was on
caliber is.
my driver's side of my truck.
Okay. All right. Just give me a minute, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives over here somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say he got out there in the mailbox or something over 118.
Remember I told you when you pull up behind me?
Yeah.
And I turned left because I didn't want if it was something going to happen to go down, I wanted to be
Hold up
Well, I thought he was
behind
in that driveway. That's why
him. Okay, so now in the video, he says that I pulled up behind him. That means that somehow he drove straight to my home and I was behind him. But you'll see in the video, there was nobody in front of me. And I even mentioned as I was pulling up to my house, oh, this guy's going to follow me to my fucking house, huh? Sorry about the profanity, but this is just, what was going down. So this guy cannot get his story straight. He's in front of me. He's behind me. I'm pointing a gun at him while we're driving down the street. I'm on the 911 call. It was a large caliber firearm, but I don't know if it was a revolver or an automatic. I held my gun to my chest. I'm right-handed. how would I do that with my left hand if this and that? And he's telling on himself during this interview. This guy had no idea that I was filming. I would think that he would have had some kind of idea, since it seems like they always know when I'm filming and when I'm not. Well, we'll just see the video. I'm going to pause this, and if I need to come back to narrate anymore, I will. Okay, so got BGV 0995, and then no, I'm backing out. And then we got BTJ 4033 ATC company. What does ATC stand for? Huh? ATC company. Maybe we should do a little research on that. Yeah, let's go, motherfucker. ATC, environmental, geotechnological. Oh, I'll just do a little research on some gang stalkers. You ever heard of that?
Gang stalkers?
Yeah, go look it up.
Why, what's a gang stalker?
Somebody that you might be.
Somebody that I might be?
Yeah, look up gang stalking. Gang stalking, yeah.
Heard of that. What is that?
Okay, notice at this point right here where I say I'm doing some research on some gang stalkers. Clearly gang stalkers. And the guy says, gang stalkers? What's a gang stalker? And I say, somebody you may be. And then he says, oh yeah, I've heard of that. What is that? So this is something this guy, it's like he can't understand what I'm saying, even though he's repeating it exactly back to me. And then he says, oh, I've heard of that. What is that? And then when he makes his report, he tells the police officer that I was yelling, gang stopper bitch, and gang stopper motherfucker, and that was it. He didn't say anything else about how he called me a faggot ass, still doesn't make sense. Kind of redundant, but so there's that part. Look it up, do some research. Yeah. Fuck you, motherfucker! Okay, this part here, notice how this guy had pulled a gun on me. I turned around and started going back to my house because so many odd skits and so many out of the normal things have happened to me. I'm not just hauling ass back to my house. I'm driving at a normal speed. I'm under the impression that this guy has turned off, turned right, or kept going, and he's just going away. I have no idea that he's called 911. I have no idea that he's going to follow me to my house. So I'm just going back to my house, trying to process what had just happened, like I do every time I leave my house. This is just another day. This is the first time that somebody's pulled a gun on me. Let's see. Yeah, nobody's actually pulled their gun out of their window. Usually they will open carry and meet me at the front door when I'm going in or something like that. So there's a lot of firearms around here, but and that's fine with me, of course. But a lot of people that live in a concealed carry state don't choose the option to open carry because that's your second choice. If you're going to conceal a firearm, if you're going to carry a firearm, you don't want everybody to know you have it. Say you're in the grocery store, they're going to rob the grocery store. The first person they're going to shoot is somebody that you see that they have a gun. So you usually want to keep that concealed. But all these other people want to open carry and meet me at the front door, kind of linger around where I'm at in the store. Like when I was in Best Buy, a guy was in there open carrying, and he would just leering at me. He'd make sure he turned to the side and lift his shirt up so I could see his gun and all that stuff. This was the first time somebody had actually brandished a firearm, pulled one out. So I drive back to my house. I'm not speeding, not doing anything. Pull into my neighborhood nice and slow. I'm just cruising in the neighborhood at the speed limit. And then I get to my house and I realize this guy is behind me.
Oh, you gonna fucking come to my house?
Okay, this is not the end of the video, but I'm going to go ahead and end it here. This is when I get to my house, the very last part of this video where I got up the stop sign and I turned right. If I were to, from the stop sign, if I just take a left, not even a full left, I just kind of go catty corner, pull right into my driveway. So both of my kids are asleep at home, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to pull in there after this guy that just showed me his firearm followed me to my house. So I turned right, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I haven't been in a situation like this where I had to run from a person with a gun before. So I got out, and I was thinking maybe I can just hop my neighbor's fence and then get a few houses down, ask for some help, or call the police or something like that. And then I realized, shit, I do have my firearm in the car. What if this guy grabs it? I don't know anything about this guy. I made the split decision. Jump back in my truck. Right as I was jumping in my truck, this guy who's parked around the corner, I can't completely see his vehicle. I can just see the very front headlights. He's got these yellow and white rotator lights going. So all I can see is this blur of lights. And his truck starts pulling forward like he's coming around the corner. Got my truck and hightailed it out of there. That's when after I got through the neighborhood, I finally saw some police at the other side of the neighborhood. I realized what had happened. This guy had called the police on me, or the police were already waiting for me, or what. I don't know what the scenario was. And I realized I'm about to get shot. Long story short, I pulled underneath the stoplight, or the street light. So it was well lit. I couldn't get out and say, if I get out, they couldn't have said, oh, well, it was dark. We couldn't see anything in his hand. We had to shoot him. And now remember, these people have been the police department here in Avondale. And I don't know if it's every single one of them or if it's certain officers or what, but some of them have been harassing me, stalking me for months now that I was aware of. It had been going on for years since I got here, but I didn't realize what the weird street theater was until I learned about all this stuff and then realized the tactics they were using. So I'm going great. Now the police department that's been stalking me, harassed me, is most likely after me. I'm going to make sure I get out of this alive. And they ended up arresting me. This guy showed up to the scene, got out of his car. I was in the back of the police cruiser after they had handcuffed me and put me in and everything, and they let this guy stand out there and just chuckle at me. He thought it was pretty funny. He got a good kick out of it. Looked in the window, just laughed like, "Hi, I got you." So I guess they were letting him identify me. Like, yeah, that's him. But why didn't they, when I told them this guy pulled a gun on me, why did they not question me about that? They kept ignoring me about it. They didn't ask me if I wanted to press charges. I think they said something like, "Do you want to assist?" And I don't know what that means. But it was like they gave me the option to assist in prosecuting this guy by saying, "Do you want to assist?" And I was like, "Assist with what?" But I don't know what you're talking about. So this is the end of this video that I'm going to do. I think I need to save the entire video for if I go to trial. So I just wanted to show the inconsistencies of this guy's statement and his actions, and that this is, I mean, it's clear to see that these people had intentions before their day started. They knew where I was going to be. They knew where I was going to be at. They knew a lot of things. And I'm just doing, I don't want to be doing this. There's other things that I would rather be doing. These people have backed me into a corner, and this is the only thing that I can do to explain my side of the story. Attorneys won't listen. Police department won't listen. The sheriff's department won't listen. The Department of Homeland Security won't listen. The FBI won't listen. The only person I haven't called is the Inspector General, the State Inspector General. You know, that's next, but I expect the same outcome from them. You know, everybody passes the buck. Call the police. You call the FBI, they say call the police. You call the police, they say call the FBI. Call DHS, they say call the police. Oh, well, they won't listen. Call the sheriff. Call the sheriff. They go, "Okay, well, thanks for letting us know." So this is the only option I have to get the word out about this, to get somebody to listen. So here it is.